Good day everyone, my name is Kathleen Bandal and together with me are my co-reporters and we are the group 3 and we are assigned to discuss to you our topic which is all about foreign direct investment and foreign exchange market. But before everything else, I want you to listen first because I will read our learning objectives. So by the end of this presentation, learners will be able to first understand the basic concepts of FDI and FEM, explain how FDI and FEM operate in the global economy, identify the key types, structures, and processes involved in international investment and currency exchange, analyze the benefits and challenges of FDI and FEM for countries and businesses, and last is to recognize the relationship between FDI, exchange rate, and international trade. So, to start, what is FDI? Foreign direct investment, or FDI, happens when a company or investor from one country invests in a business located in another country and gains control over that business. So, kumbaga, FDI happens if ang isa ka business is gibutang sa host country and dito siya gina-manage. Yes, you heard it right. When we talk about FDI, it's not always about investing only sa isa ka business. It's also about gaining control over that business. No? So this means that it's not only about sending money, investing money, putting money. They're also involved in making important decisions about the business, such as production, management, and strategy. You have all that control. You can manage your business. You can direct it. So FDI usually happens when companies want to expand their operations internationally. Yes, when you think as entrepreneur, you are not only settling for less. You're not being mediocre, because when you are an entrepreneur, you want to expand your business. How are you going to get more customers? How are you going to innovate, develop, and grow your business? No, so FDI is also one of the best thing for an entrepreneur to do in order to expand their business operations. No, but here in FDI, it could happen manggod, especially if here in the Philippines, no, it could expand nationally, like branches from Davao, Tagum, Butuan, anywhere in the Philippines. But when we talk about FDI, this happens when the entrepreneur or the business owner company want to expand internationally, like outside the Philippines, outside the home country na jud. I'm gonna be giving you an example for this. I want you to imagine a Japanese automobile company that builds a car manufacturing plant in Thailand. No, so gikan siya sa Japan, nag-make siya og kanang manufacturing plant sa Thailand. No, so the Thailand is the host country, the Japan is the home country, and manages the production there. Yes, si Japan ang mag-manage, no, dili si Thailand. Just because naa siya sa Thailand doesn't mean na si Thailand ang mag-manage. Si Japan gyapon siya. So that is considered foreign direct investment. So I have a little bit confusion, no? So before I continue it, I want you to understand first the word investment. Because when I was making this report, I was thinking na, why is it called foreign direct investment? When generally, when we talk about investment, it's always about putting money, sharing, giving your money, your resources, and even your efforts, no? But as I research it, no, it makes sense, GDI. No, it's not always about putting money. So in general, investment means putting money, resources, or efforts into something with the goal of earning profits or benefits in the future. Investment can happen in two ways. So the first one is the general knowledge that we know about investment. Now, the second type of investment, this is when FDI comes in. So the second type of investment can also mean creating something new, like building a factory, opening a branch, or starting a company. That's a second example of investment. So both are still considered investment because they involve using money to gain future returns. So in the case of FDI, companies may invest in another country by first buying an existing company, partnering with a local company, or building new facilities like factories or offices. FDI involves control and active involvement. So the company does not just invest in money. When you talk about FDI, you gain control over that business. Sa production, sa marketing, sa strategies, any decision making. So that's it. That's the difference between the FDI and the stocks and bonds. Kasi si bonds, it's like loans. Wala kay karapatan. Don't have any control over that thing. Si stocks naman, you only have a share. But dili nimo makontrol ang business mismo. But in FDI, you have all the authority to manage it, to control it, to direct it. In simple terms, stocks and bonds are passive investments while FDI is an active investment. So let's proceed to why companies engage in FDI. Nga naman jud mag-engage sa FDI ang mga companies. Why is it one of the things that they do? So companies invest abroad to first expand their business and increase profit. When you are an entrepreneur, you don't only settle for less. Again, you are not mediocre. So companies want to expand their business not only nationally but as well as internationally, because if they do that, they expand their markets. Why? They could get more customers there, no? Mas mudagan ilang customers, and with that, mas mudako ang ilang profit. Now, dili lang isa ang reason as to why companies engage in FDI. Let's have these reasons one by one. First, access cheaper labor or resources. So some countries have lower wages or cheaper materials. That is why companies can produce goods at lower cost, which increases their profit. Kasi usually sa mga companies, they are wise. Magbutang sila isa ka business sa isa ka country na tingno nga na ay lower wage gani, kung asa maka-save sila, kung asa maka-less sila sa ilahang mga cost. An example for this is a company may move production to country where workers are paid less compared to their home country. So they think where they can operate their business with a lower cost. So second is avoid trade barriers. When it comes to exporting and importing, there are a lot of barriers from facing tariffs or taxes, no? So by producing inside the country, the host country, they can avoid this extra cost. So an example for this is instead of exporting products, a company builds a factory that in that country to sell goods directly. So the good thing here is that dili lang siya makalikay sa mga cost, but dako po siya tabang sa mga customers na mas satisfy sila. So gain strategic advantages. Katulo, companies want to stay ahead of their competitors, no? So kasi in the business industry, every entrepreneur, they want to make something na mahimong edge nila against sa ilahang mga competitors. So, by investing in different countries, they can be closer to their customers kasi naana sila sa country mismo. So, if na yung mga customer dito sa host country nga mamalit, faster ang delivery, ma-assist nila right away, like ma-serve nila og tarong. They respond faster to demand. For example, grabe ang demand, grabe ang kanang percentage sa demand dito sa mga tao, and since they are there, they can respond faster. They can manufacture right away to supply sa demand sa mga customers dito, and they build a stronger global presence. Why? Kasi if they're closer to their customers are most likely become more satisfied with their company. So that builds a stronger global presence na they know that you're nanay brand visibility gani, and that brand visibility pwede siya mahimong kanang factor of customer loyalty or retention. Fourth is improve efficiency. So company can divide their production across different countries, so each country can focus on what it does best. So an example for this is one country produces parts, another assembles the product, which makes the process faster and more efficient. So now let's proceed to the types of FDI. So the first one is the greenfield investment. Greenfield investment is when a company builds a completely new business in another country from scratch, from 0 days, no? So that includes building the factories, offices, and warehouses like scratch jud. Let's find out as to why companies choose this. No, the reason why is because they want full control over everything, such as how the business operates. Makabuot sila ingon ani dapat, ingon ani ang strategy, ingon ani ang management, ingon ani pag-operate. Then they could also choose what technology to use, ingon ani atong dapat gamiton, ingon ani atong dapat buhaton, and how workers are trained. So in everything, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages. The advantages for greenfield investment kasi you have the full control. No one will tell you what to do. Wala himingon si mo, adi ko ganan ana sa dinan imo buhaton. So, customized operations and better quality control. However, ang disadvantage kasi nito, it's expensive. Kasi wala kasi siyang gigikanan. Wala pa jud siya naga-exist. Like, wala pa jud siya nga known sa mga tao. Kasi from scratch pa lang. And it takes a long time to build. You have to think critically sa mga marketing strategy para naa siya brand visibility, mabalaan sa mga tao. So, an example for this is Toyota built manufacturing plants in countries like Thailand and the Philippines from the ground up. So, this is a greenfield investment because they created new facilities and controlled the entire operation. So, second is the mergers and acquisition. This happens when a company buys or joins an existing company in another country. This is in contrast of greenfield investment. Kasi si greenfield investment, from scratch. But si mergers and acquisitions, meron na, existing na si company. However, all you have to do is to buy and join an existing company in another country. Why do companies choose this? Because it is faster compared to greenfield investment. Kasi the company doesn't need to start from the zero. Kasi meron ng customer, employees, facilities, and brand recognition. Alam na ng mga tao that this business is existing. So, even if ikaw na ang nagmamay-ari, or even if kasama ka na sila magmamay-ari, as long as they know that business, even if ikaw pa yung nagmamay-ari kahit bago ka, they would still choose you. Kasi may brand recognition na eh. And the advantages here is quick market entry kasi meron ka ng customers. Already established business, you don't have to think, ay, anong gagawin ko? Anong strategy nito para makilala ako ng mga tao? Wala nang ganun. Less time needed kasi it's already established. But the disadvantages here is that it's expensive to buy companies. Kasi meron na lahat. Meron ng brand recognition. Once there is a brand recognition, mahal na talaga. Kasi you're not only buying the company itself, but as well as its assets. It's everything that makes that business work. From the customers to the employees and everything, and it's possible conflicts in management or culture. Like, what if you are the new owner kasi binili mo, and then hindi mo matugma yung cultural preferences ng mga customers mo from host countries, Kaya ang possible may mga conflicts sa management or culture. An example for this is the Facebook, which is also known as the Meta now. Kinuha nila yung Instagram. So, kumbaga, binili nila ng Facebook si Instagram. So, although both are foreign companies, this shows how acquisitions work. Buying an existing business instead of building a new one. So, now the third type of FDI is what we call the joint venture. When we talk about joint venture, it is when a foreign company partners with a local company. That is totally different from the mergers and acquisition. Kasi there, you are buying or joining an existing company. But here, you are partnering. It's like joining, but more of like partnering. Kasi you share with a local company your investment, the money, the risks of anything that's gonna happen, like problems, kung sa mga problema dapat i-face niyo na together. Kailangan na nimo responsible ka ana. So dili lang si local company, you're also responsible for it. So as ikaw as foreign company nga, and the responsibilities like how to manage it, control it, direct it, and the profits. So, kung sa inyong makuha as benefits in the future, share mo ana. Now, what are the reasons to why company choose joint ventures? Because the local partner already understands. Kasi here, you are partnering as a foreign company with a local company. The reason why company choose this because they know, they already understands the culture, like kung sa mga preferences sa mga tao dito, sa mga locals dito, how are we going to present the product, the services na ato ang gina-provide na without offending them, no? They know the market, unsay mga trends dito, and even the laws and the policies, unsay mga dapat buhaton and mga dili dapat buhaton. Now, here naputay advantages and disadvantages. So, shared risks. So, dili ka maglisod because you have a partner. You have no local knowledge. You don't have to study na mag-research pa ka like ingon ani sila dito, kani bawal, kani dapat. So, you don't have to do that kasi meron ng local company. They know na that the culture, an easy market entry because it's already existing. So, same lang siya sa mergers and acquisition. But here, you have shared control. So, if dili siya gusto ani, magka-conflict gyud, no? So it's really hard when it comes to controlling a business na dili mo magkasinabtanay. So share din yung control and possible disagreements. That's kanang away-away na kay dili na magkatugma ang inyong preferences, inyong gusto nga mahitabo. So these types of FDI shows that company have different ways of entering foreign markets depending on their goals, resources, and how much control they want. And that's it for my part about what FDI is, why companies engage in FDI, and the types of FDI. So, thank you and good day.
Good day everyone. The next that we will discuss is about the theories of FDI. First, let us define foreign direct investment or FDI. FDI happens when a company invests or builds a business in another country and not just invest money but also to control the operations. This means the company manages productions, decision, and strategy. So FDI is not just about investment but also about control and long-term growth. Now let us move to the theories of FDI. First is the internalization theory. This explains that companies expand abroad to protect their knowledge, like technology or systems, instead of sharing it with others. They prefer to manage the business themselves to avoid copying. So, second is the eclectic paradigm or OLI framework. This says companies invest abroad if three advantages are present. Ownership advantage like strong brand or technology, location advantage like barato ang labor or many customers. An internalization advantage is where the company prefers to control operations. So if these three exist, expansion is more likely. Third is Knickerbocker's theory. This explains that company follow their competitors if one enters a new country, so others follow so they won't be left behind. Now for global trends. So today, FDI is growing more in developing countries because of lower cost, large markets, and available resources. Even when challenges like pandemic or crisis, companies still invest, especially in technology and services. Next is the value chain. This refers to the steps in production, from research to sellings. It helps company decide where to do each steps. There are two types of FDI. First is horizontal FDI, where a company copies the same business in another country, like opening the same store in a different place. So second is a vertical FDI, where the production process is divided across countries. For example, parts are made in one country, assembled in another country, and are sold elsewhere. So next is vertical FDI. So vertical FDI has two types, upstream and downstream. So upstream, which focuses on raw materials, and ang downstreams, which focuses on final products and selling. So in conclusion, FDI helps us understand why companies expand globally. It is not only for profit but also for protection, competition, and efficiency. So this shows that businesses today are global and not limited by borders. Thank you.
So hello everyone. Today let's talk about foreign direct investments or FDI. So unsa man gid ni siya? So basically this This is when a company from other countries invests and builds a business in your country. Now, why do countries like this? So, simple. Dili lang na siya about money, it actually helps the economy grow. So, when a foreign company enters, naadayon competition mahitabo. So, at first, more siyang scary, but actually it's good because local businesses are pushed to improve and be more creative. Also, it helps connect the country to the global market, meaning mas dali na makipag-trade with other countries. So, overall, murag, it level ups the economy. So, benefits for the host country, ang country na gi-investan. So, think of it as an economic upgrade. So, firstly, it creates jobs. So, more people can work and earn. Next, it brings new technology and skills, meaning people learn new ways of doing things na wala pa nila na-experience before. Aside from that, makatabang po sila sa infrastructures like roads, buildings, or electricity systems. Kaya needed mo na siya for businesses. And of course, the government gets more taxes which they can use for public services like schools or hospitals. So, for the home country, ang country kung asa gikan ang company, it's also win for them because their companies earn more profit by entering new markets. So, mas muda ko ilang negosyo and mahimong stronger sila globally. Also, naa sila demand for products gikan sa ilang own country like materials or parts. So, your local industries still benefit. So, the cost of FDI. So, dili man jud tanan ka nang ma-go sa plan. So, nagid mga drawbacks. In general, FDI can sometimes cause unequal income, meaning dili tanan tao or sector maka-benefit equally. Also, if a country becomes too dependent on foreign investors, delikado siya kay what if muhawa sila suddenly. Maapektuhan jud ang economy. So, next is cost for the host country. So, one big issue is profit repatriation. So, medyo big word but also simple. So, ang company earns money in your country pero ilang profit ibalik ra sa ilang own country. So, dili tanan kwarta mababilin locally. Another problem is competition. So, big foreign companies are very strong. So, small local businesses might struggle or even close down kay dili sila ka-compete. And next is cost for the home country. So, silang side na apoy downside. So, the biggest one is job loss. So, if company move their factories abroad kay mas barato, workers in their home country might lose jobs. And also, there's something called technology leakage. So, meaning their special knowledge or technology might spread to other countries which could become their future competitors. So, next is the FDI versus the other entry strategy. So, now, when does a company choose FDI instead of exporting or licensing? So, exporting is better kung barato ra ang shipping and walay dagag restrictions like taxes or limits. But FDI is chosen if the company wants full control, like for example, if they have a secret technology or a unique processes that they don't want others to copy it, or if they want to be closer to customers kay mas dali sila makasabot sa needs sa peoples and give their better service. That's all. Thank you.
So my first topic is government policies and FDI o kaning foreign direct investment. So first, ang tax breaks or subsidies. So ang gobyerno is mingon siya nga mga foreign companies dili sa magbayad og tax sulod sa 5 ka tuig. So tungod din mas ganahan ng mga investors mo invest kay makasave sila og kwarta. So second is ang build infrastructure. So magtukod ang mga government o kalsada o kanang mga tulay nga dool sa factory para mas dali ang pag-transport sa product nga mao ang mas efficient sa negosyo. So third is ang special economic zones. So naay mga lugar nga gamay ang tax o paspas ang permits. So kini nga lugar is mas attractive siya sa mga foreign companies kaysa yun og barato ang ilahang pagnegosyo. So fourth is ang restrict foreign ownership. So ang mga negosyo is kinahanglan 60% Filipino and 40% foreign lang. So ginaprotektahan niya ang mga local businesses aron dili mapildi sa mga foreign companies. So 5 is ang joint ventures. So ang mga foreign company no is kinahanglan na makipart-partner sa mga local nga negosyo. So makatabang ni siya para sa pag-share og knowledge og profit sa mga local og foreign partners. So 6 is ang protect strategy in industries. So dili tugutan ng mga foreign companies nga mag-control sa electricity sectors. So importante ni siya no para maprotektahan ng mga professional ay maprotektahan ang national security o resources sa atong nasod. So next is ang foreign exchange market or FAM. So kining the foreign exchange market or FAM no or kining forex is the global marketplace kung asa ang mga kwarta sa mga laing-laing lugar is ginabaligya or ginapalit. So kini nga market no is nag-allow siya sa mga country, negosyo o investors nga makausab sila ang currency gikan sa laing nga currency aron maka-appeal sila sa international transaction sama sa import, export o foreign investment. So for example, kung mapalit ka og produkto gikan sa Japan, so kinahanglan nimo ilisan ang peso to yen kay syempre di man madawat sa Japan ang peso. So kailangan nimo siya ilisan. So ang FAM kay mao ang system nga nagatabang sa pag-ilis og currency aron mahimong possible ang international trade. So this is another example no ni kanang ato mga OFW. So nagapadala man sila og dollars or kung asa sila ni abroad diri sa Pilipinas. So ang dollars is ilisa nila og peso pinaagi sa FAM. So my next topic is ang structure of the foreign exchange market. So unlike sa stock market no, unlike sa stock markets no, so the FAM does not operate the KD sa central location. So kini nga naga-decentralized o global network sa mga bangko o financial institution nga connected sa electronically. So first is ang interbank market. So mga dagkong bangko no is nagabaligya sila og dollars o euros. So sila ang pinakadako nga traders sa currency sa tibuok kalibutan. So second is ang central bank. So ang bangko sentral no is upataas og value sa peso. So sila ang naga-control o gina-control nila ang economy o stability sa currency. So third is ang corporations. So company sa Pilipinas is mapalit o materials gikan sa Korea. So kinahanglan nila ilisan o kinahanglan nila mag-ilis og kwarta para makabayad. So fourth is ang investors and hedge funds. So traders is mapalit og dollars kung mutaas ang value. So nag-trade sila para makaginansya or para makakita sila. Diyan nila i-exchange kung mutaas na ang value sa ilang i-exchange na na peso or what ano. So 5 is ang retail brokers. So sa mga ordinaryong tao no is gugamit na siya og forex app para mag-trade. So sila ang naghatag og access sa mga small traders para maka-join sila. And that's all my part. Thank you.
Good day everyone. I'm Bernalbert and my report is all about how the FAM works. The foreign exchange market or FAM is where currencies are traded. Sa FAM, ang exchange rate is determined by supply and demand. If the demand for a currency increases, the value of the currency will appreciate or musaka. On the other hand, if the supply of the currency increases, the value will depreciate or mobus. So basically, depende jud na sa demand o supply kung unsa ka strong or weak ang currency. So demand for currency increases when foreign investor wants to invest in a country. Kaya kinahanglan nila ang local currency. So musaka ang demand. Second, the country exports more goods. Ang buyers from other countries kinahanglan mubay sa currency. So musaka gihapon ang demand. Third is interest rates are higher. Mas ma-attract ang investor, so more people will buy the currency. In short, kung daghan gusto mo buy sa currency, musaka ang value nini. Next is the supply of the currency increases when residents imports more goods. They need exchange local currency to foreign currency. So mas daghang supply sa local currency. Second, investor move money abroad. They sell their local currency, so musaka ang supply. Third is economic performance weakens. Kung dili maayo ang economy, people lose confidence and sell the currency. So kung daghan ang nabaligya sa currency, mubos ang value nini. Next slide is exchange rate system. Next, let's talk about the different exchange rate system. Country use different system to manage their currency values. First, floating exchange rate. Adding a system, the value is determined by the market. Wala intervention ang government. Example, US dollar. Kung unsay supply ang demand, mao gyud na ang presyo. Second, fixed exchange rate. Diri, the government sets or fixes its currency to another currency like the US dollar. Meaning, stable siya. Pero kinahanglan ang central bank mag-control permi sa to maintain the rate. Third is managed float. This is a combination of both. Mostly, market determined, pero the central bank can intervene if needed. So, murag na ay freedom, pero naa gihapon control gamay. Each system has pros and cons. First, floating, flexible but unstable. Second, fixed, unstable but less flexible. Third is managed float, balance between the two. Next is pin instrument. Now let's move to currency risk management. Businesses face risk tungod sa changing exchange rates. So they use financial instrument to manage this. First, spot market. This is an immediate exchange of currency at the current rate. So kung unsa ang rate karon, mao dayon gamiton. Second, forward contract. This is an agreement to exchange currency at a fixed rate in the future. So bisan mag-change ang rate later, fixed na inyong kasabutan. Third, future contract. Similar sa forward but standardized and traded in exchange. Mas formal o regulated siya. Fourth is option. This gives the right but not obligation to exchange currency at a certain rate. Meaning, pwede nimo gamiton or dili depende kung beneficial ba. These tools help business reduce uncertainty. So, dili sila masyak kung kalitra ma-change ang exchange rate. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Rujen M. Lapas. Now I am discuss the importance of foreign exchange market to the economy. So naay upat ka buok. First is international trade. So ang international trade is maning pagbaligya o pagpalit sa laing-laing product sa laing-laing ni country. So ang foreign exchange market is mo nagatabang para makabayad o makadawat og kwarta ang lain-lain nga nasod sa pagpalit og product. So example is ang Pilipinas is mopalit og makina sa Japan. So gina-convert sa Pilipinas ang ilahang currency to Japan currency para makabayad sa ilang ikuha nga makina. Next is cross-border investment. So sa foreign exchange market is dako nagtabang sa mga investor sa pagpadala og kwarta sa laing bansa para makatindog og negosyo o maka-invest sa negosyo. So example ani is ang investor gikan sa Amerika gusto mag-invest sa Pilipinas is gina-convert niya ang dollar to Philippine currency para makatindog og negosyo diri sa Pilipinas. Next is tourism o tourism remittance. So money is ang pag-travel o pagpadala sa kwarta gikan sa laing currency. So kasagaran diri is mga OFW nga nag-abroad o ginailis nila ilang currency sa Pilipinas. Example is nag-abroad sila sa US. So gina-convert nila ang US dollar to Philippine currency para magamit nila sa pagpalit og product. So next is global financial integration. So morning pagkonekta sa lain-lain nga country, kumbaga nagtinabagay pinaagi sa kwarta sa negosyo o investment. So kumbaga sa tao o sa kumpanya is morning pagpadala o pagdawat og kwarta gikan sa laing nasod. So example ani is kung naay kumpanya sa Pilipinas gusto magpadala og negosyo sa Thailand, so kinabuhat nila is kinapadala nila ang ilang kwarta pinaagi sa foreign exchange market. Now is I discuss foreign exchange market, international trade. So foreign exchange market is morning marketplace sa mga currency. Nadiri ang lain-lain nga country nga nag-exchange og lain-lain nga currency. Kumbaga diri may tabo ang buying and selling sa mga currency. So international trade is morning pag-import o pag-export sa mga product padulong sa lain-lain nga country. So halimbawa sa Pilipinas is barato ang currency value, so mataas ang exporter. So daghan ang mga dayuhan na mopalit sa tuang mga product kay tungod barato ang currency value. So halimbawa kung mahal ang currency value sa Pilipinas is mudaghan ang importer. So daghang mga Pilipino nga magpalit og product sa laing country kay tungod mahal ang currency value sa Pilipinas. So naay tulo ka buok. First is pricing strategy. Pricing strategy is maning strategy sa pagpresyo sa produkto. So ang pagpresyo sa produkto is nagdepende kung unsa ka mahal ang pagpalit sa laing bansa. So kung mahal ang pagpalit sa produkto sa laing country, so expecta na pagbaligya diri is mahal ang price. So next is profit margin. Profit margin is maning kita sa negosyo. So halimbawa is nag-export ta og mga product sa US, if ang US dollar is mahal ang value, so pag-convert sa tuwa is dako ang kita sa Philippines sa i-export na product. Pero barato ang currency value sa US is barato o gamay kita ang Philippines once ka nag-export og product sa US. Next is competitiveness. Competitiveness is maning kakayahan sa country na mag-produce og product sa lain-lain na country. So halimbawa dire is kung ang currency value dire sa Pilipinas is mahal, so daghan ng mga investors ang mangitaglain nga currency. Pero og barato ang currency value dire sa Pilipinas is daghan ng mga investors ang mag-invest. So next is foreign exchange market and international investment. So naa sila tulo ka buok. First is purchase foreign stocks and bonds. So there is na mga investors na gina-convert nila ilang own currency para makapalit og stocks or bonds sa laing country. So example ani is na Pilipino nga investors nagi-convert niya ang Philippine peso to US dollars para makapalit og US bonds or stocks. Next is invest in foreign and direct investment. So maraming mga investors nga nag-invest og kwarta sa laing bansa or nagtindog or nag-operate og negosyo sa laing country. So ginabuhat nila is gina-convert nila ang ilang currency sa country na ilang giinvestan. So halimbawa ani is na investors nga nagtindog og branch sa Thailand. So ginabuhat niya is gina-convert niya ang Philippine peso to Thailand currency para masugdan o operate ang iyang negosyo sa Thailand. Next is diversify portfolios internationally. So dire is mo ni mga investors nga gibutang nila ilahang currency sa lain-lain ni country. So mo ning pag diversification. Kumbaga halimbawa ni is na investors nagbutang og currency sa Pilipinas, nagbutang og currency sa US or nagbutang og currency sa Japan. So ang purpose ani is once nga ang isa ka currency sa country is unstable, is dili maapektuhan ang uban currency nga iyang gi-invest para reduce risk og safe ihang kwarta. So kato lang, thank you.
Hello, good day everyone. My name is Etienne Pilo and my topic is about the challenges in the foreign exchange market, also known as FEM. So the foreign exchange market can become unstable because of several factors. First is political crisis which can affect a country's economy. Second is changes in interest rates which can influence currency values. Third is inflation difference between countries. And the fourth is speculation by investors, where investors try to predict currency changes. And lastly, global economic shock such as financial crisis. Because of these challenges, currency crisis can affect national economies. That is why government and companies use strategies to manage this risk. And second is relationship between FDI and FEM. Next is the relationship between foreign direct investment or FDI and the foreign exchange market. FDI and FEM are closely connected. Before ang companies mag-invest sa another country, they must convert their money into foreign currency. And also, they need to consider exchange rate risk and check if ang currency will remain stable in the long term. And if the home currency is strong, investing abroad becomes cheaper. But if the foreign currency becomes weak, companies may learn less profit. Therefore, ang exchange rates have an important role in investment decision. So, overall role of FEM in globalization. Lastly, I discussed the overall role of the foreign exchange market and globalization. The foreign exchange market helps support global production networks, multinational companies, and international movement of capital. It also supports financial globalization. Without the foreign exchange market, foreign investment, international trade, and global business will not work efficiently. Because of this, FEM is considered one of the foundation of the modern global economy.